Well, Cassie already said it, but I'll say it again. Happy Mother's Day. Today is a very special day. We just want to honor all the moms, the biological moms, the adoptive moms, the foster moms, the spiritual moms. We just want to honor you because we also know that there are so many different things that moms specifically bring to the table that dads just cannot. And so we just want to take a moment and honor you. Yeah, you can do that. Go ahead and honor. You wouldn't be here without your mom. Some science class, let me just tell you right now. Well, happy Mother's Day. I personally always see myself as a worshiper. That's just who I feel like I am. I absolutely love worship, but I actually got that from my mama. My mom, whenever we were children, she would always rock us to sleep every night, and she would sing worship until we fell asleep. And so I believe because of that, just this character of worship and seeking God from the beginning of her day to the end of her day really made me who I am today. So we honor our moms. But can I just say, where are the parents? Where are all my parents at? All the moms and dads as well. There are times in our lives as parents, if we're honest, that we tend to say, yeah, that's my boy or that's my kid, right? Whenever they're doing something, they ace a test, they do something really well, or they're athletic or doing something great, you're like, yeah, you got that from your dad, right? Yeah, or if they do something bad, they're being sarcastic, smart aleck, they're talking back, you're like, you got that from your mom. Like, y'all don't do that, that's just my family. Okay, well, that's good. Good to know. Don't do that. But we always will celebrate the things that we love, but we always push off and pretend like they didn't get the bad stuff from us too. Just my family? Cool. I'm glad y'all are here today. I appreciate that. Do me a favor, though, and go to 2 Timothy chapter 1. I'm going to be there in a few minutes, but I will give you some time to flip over there because in this very few verses, it's going to be talking about how impactful a mom and a grandmother are on this boy named Timothy. And it's so interesting what Paul actually says here. But one thing, and I want you to not make a mistake here and just assume that they could get the good things or bad things from you, but understand that everything that your kids are and who they have been, a lot of it, the majority of it, I would say, has come from you. The good stuff and the bad stuff. Everything has been sown into them by somebody or something. And don't make a mistake either. Everything that you are has been sown into you as well. And you're like, what are you talking about? So the movies that you watch will automatically start making you think a certain way. The music you listen to. I remember when I was younger, I would always say, I don't even listen to the words. I just listen to it because I like the beat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We just listen to the beat. Whatever. I can play that song right now and you wouldn't miss a word. You know exactly what the words say. Don't lie to yourself because you know what it says. It has made an impact on you. Movies. I don't know how many times I will quote movie after movie and I know it. I could tell you a quote from a movie I watched at 10 years old because it made such an impact on me. And so don't go and tell me that all the things that we're seeing or letting in are not making an impact. Hello. And so if we're already like the soil and the things outside of us are making an impact, how much greater would it be that our impact that we're making on our children and our friends as well? And so I'm going to talk about this a little bit today because I want to give you my title really quick. And my title is this, 2 words, so what? So what? S-O-W what? Let's pray. Hey, God, I just pray over today. I pray that you give us the reality that we are sowing into every person that we come in contact with and give us wisdom on how to do this well in your way. In Jesus' name I pray. And we all said, amen. I love it. All right, Brandon. So for a second, you're like, can you please stop talking about all the sowing and reaping and all the weird things? Like, what does that even mean? Well, I'm going to give you the definition of what sowing means because I want you to understand this. It's a word throughout Scripture from Genesis all the way to Galatians that you see this idea of sowing and reaping over and over and over. The definition of sowing is to plant seed for growth, especially by scattering. But it actually implies something deeper than that. It implies an intentionality, and it implies a direction, and it also implies patience. And so I'll go all the way to Genesis for a second because I want to show you this. So from the very beginning, God starts showing them what sowing and reaping looks like. Genesis 1:28 says this, then God blessed them and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. That's not just about reproduction. It's actually also about productivity. It's not just about reproduction. It's not that they're supposed to have lots and lots of babies. It's actually talking about productivity. God created us to produce. Y'all missed it. God really created us to plant and grow something meaningful. Go all the way to Galatians for a second. Galatians 6:7 says this, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." This wasn't just a proverb. It was actually a promise and a warning. Because if you study this Galatians, you understand that Paul is actually teaching a church in Galatia that was dealing a lot with legalism. They were dealing a lot with what it means to be selfish and selfishly living. But Paul is actually saying, he's reminding them, listen, you will harvest the life that you plant. You will harvest the life that you plant. It might not be today, but it will eventually happen. And so from Genesis all the way to Galatians, this happens over and over. When Paul says, don't be deceived, you reap what you sow, he's warning them not to think that they can live in the flesh. Hello. What I mean by that when I say that is they can live like the world apart from God, that they don't have a relationship with Christ. They live one way, but then they expect to reap a spiritual fruit of growth. I don't think you're understanding this. He's explaining to them, no. You can't say you're a Christian, but all of the things that you're planting into you look like the world, and yet on this side of things, you're like, why am I not maturing in my walk with Christ? Because you're not planting anything of Christ in you. And so he's teaching this. So listen to this. Your choices are the seed to what you will soon see grow in your life. Your choices are the seed to what you will eventually see grow. Now we go to 2 Timothy because I want to show you this. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 5 and 6, Paul is writing this letter. Now remember, the majority of the New Testament are all letters for specific people or a specific church dealing with a specific issue. So you cannot always read it for face value because you have to understand what's happening in that context. And this will help us study the Bible a little bit better. But he's writing this letter specifically to Timothy, and he says this. Are you there? A few of you. That's good. Okay, hopefully a few more get there. This is 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5 and 6, and he says this. He says, I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded now lives in you also. For this reason, I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. Paul is saying, Timothy, I see the fruit of your life, but it all began with a seed from somebody else. I'm seeing the fruit of everything that your grandmother and your mother sowed into you. I'm seeing this now. Now here's what I want you to understand. It says your grandmother sowed into your mother. Your mother then sowed into you. And I added something to that. And now what's the challenge? The challenge for you, Timothy, is now you go and you did the same thing that's already been done for you. Is this making sense? That's really what he's showing. So if you're taking notes, and I really encourage you to do so, my first thought today is this. You're always sowing something. You're always sowing something. Watch this. Your attitude is a seed. Your patience or the lack thereof, is a seed. How you parent your children when you're upset at them is a seed. How you talk about your wife or your husband is a seed. How you correct people when they've done you wrong is a seed. The way you talk about people when they're not around but other people are listening is a seed. I hope you're catching this. Are you still with me? Everything that we do, you are planting something into somebody every single day. So it's not like you can go, I just don't want to today. It's like that's not how life works. But we were planting something. I was actually scrolling through TikTok the other day, and I saw this little boy. He couldn't have been older than maybe 4. And he literally had a little 3-piece suit on, had a bow tie. His legs were crossed. He was leaned back, and he had like this fake little cup of coffee. And he was talking like this old man. I was like, he was not born like that. He was watching somebody do that. At 4 years old, something had already been instilled in him. He's like, that's what I see on the daily. I see them talk to me a certain way. I see them act in a certain way. I see them respond in a certain way. And so at 4 years old, he was already acting like something that he had already seen. And so you can't tell me somebody was daily, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, planning who they were into who he is. Is this making sense? And that's why we have to be so careful in what and how we talk, because he was mimicking what he had seen and what he had been around. And I think that's why we can look at the culture, and we joke about this, but you look at the culture in high school, middle school, and high school boys, they all have the same haircut. All of them. I'm like, flip them over, dunk them in water, you can mop the floor. Like they all have the little moppy looking haircut. But that somebody at some point had it, and now all of a sudden they all look the same. And I know I'm kind of joking that, but we have to understand our world is planting seeds in our children. Our world are planting seeds in us. And so are we going to be so numb to what God is trying to do because we'd rather look like the world? Now let's keep going a second, because I want you to see this. In the same way, though, all of the healthy things that we plant do the exact same thing. They also get planted into those around us. And so Deuteronomy 6, verse 6 and 7, this is what the Bible says. It says, these commandments that I give you, talking about the word, the commandments. He says, these commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. The word in Hebrew here that it's saying is shanan, which this word literally means embedded deeply. It actually means to carve deeply. If you're looking at a tree, the word that he's using, he's like literally carve deep into it so that when you walk away, it's still made an imprint on it. And so this word that he's saying is literally meaning to plant deep into. He's teaching this. He's saying it's how to do this. It's repetition. Have you ever tried to carve something deep into something? You have to not just do it once. It's repeated over and over, and eventually you can step away and see the mark that you had made. And so he's the word that here is also precision, being intentional, being precise, almost like a surgeon cutting. You have to be intentional about every move that you make. Another way to put this is you have to be intentional about how and what you're carving. And so this word is, he's saying this, what you say, what you do, what you teach, how you model is embedding everything that you are into everyone around you. And so he's like, be very careful in what you're doing. So he's teaching, he's saying, listen, I want you to have my word in you so that what overflows in you is me and not the world. Is this making sense? So let's move a little further into this. So the question is this: what are you sowing? What are you sowing? Go back with me for a second to verse 6, and I want to show this to you, though. It says this: these commandments that I give you today are to be on, what does it say? Say it again. On your hearts. This is, don't miss this. He's teaching my word. God is saying my word needs to be on your heart first. Why does this matter? Because if I don't have your heart, no wonder your kids are doing what they want to do. Because they're regurgitating what you fed them. Oh, come on, I need you to wake up today. We are getting to that point where God is teaching, no, I need you to have it embedded in your heart first. Because if it's not embedded in your heart and you feel like my relationship with you is only on Sundays, no wonder your kids want nothing to do with me. If my relationship with you, I don't have your whole heart, no wonder they want nothing to do with me. If everything that comes out of your mouth is not of me, no wonder, because you haven't spent time with me. Y'all are quiet today. And I think this is what he's trying to say. So write this down. You can only sow what you carry. You can only sow what you carry. Your children, your family, your friends, they know what you find important. Just ask. Just ask them. So at lunch today, maybe not today, wait till tomorrow, because today's about mom. But tomorrow, sit with them and you ask, what do you think dad or mom finds important? They'll tell you. The reason how they know is because you say it. The reason how they understand it is because it's always coming out of your mouth. That's how they know what you care about. That's how they understand who you are. They're listening, you're sowing. And so I would encourage you today or tomorrow. Ask them, say, what do you think I care about? What do you think keeps me up at night? What do you think that I love the most? And when you start asking these questions, you will see the seeds that you've planted because they will respond. Good or bad, they will tell you what you've told them. What consumes my thoughts? What do I think about all the time? That's how you know what's coming out of you in the seed you plant. Is it worry? Is it anxiety? Is it the stress of money? Is it frustration with jobs? Is it issues with your spouse? Your kids are going to know because they're within earshot. Are you hearing me? And so I would encourage you, and this is not a knock, I'm right here with you, is we have to get to our kids and go, what do I care about? Would you tell me? Because you hear just as much as I do. Our kids this week, because it was a Mother's Day thing, they wrote some stuff for Cassie, and they were saying, my mom likes blank. My mom's favorite color is blank. She likes to do this. She feels loved when I blank. And you start reading them, and some of it they know, other stuff we've told them. And it's funny because some of it, it's like, how old is your mom? And they're like 65 or whatever. You're like, no, but okay. Like, because they don't know some of it, but the majority of it, they know. Where do they get it from? Us. They get it from us. We always play a game at the dinner table. We always say, hey, what's the best thing about your day? And what's the hardest thing about your day? What was your best thing? What is the thing that you had so much fun? What was your favorite part? Sometimes it's, getting to see a friend at school. Sometimes it's you taking me to the park or whatever. What's your worst thing? And most of the time it's little bitty things. But we're also trying to see what's sowing into them. We're trying to understand who are you even when you're not at the table with us? And they're doing the same thing with us. And so I would say this, you can see what you sow when you just ask. You can't sow peace if you always carry chaos everywhere you go. You can't sow joy if you're only filled with bitterness. You can't sow health when all you're doing is living in frustration or always overflowing in anger. And you're like, man, why are you always acting that way? Chances are they got it from somewhere. And so we have to say, what do they have access to? Is this making sense? What am I giving my kids access to because I want to be a good parent? And because I think I'm being a good parent, I've given them access to way too much. Or on the flip side, what are they seeing in me? It's impossible to sow something you yourself do not carry and grow within you. It's impossible. In the same way, though, when you sow peace, they're going to understand peace. When you sow joy, they're going to start getting joy. When you start sowing these things of God, they're going to automatically have it. And they're going to go, I don't understand why my house feels like peace to me. All I know is when my parents are in this room, I have peace. It's not us. Really what it is it's our relationship with him is overflowing into them. Does this make sense? Okay, I hope you're still with me. I'm going to show you this in Luke, though. Luke chapter 6, it says this, each tree is recognized by its what? Its own fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit. Let's keep going. People do not pick figs from thorn bushes or grapes from briars. A good man, watch this, a good man brings good things out of good stored up in his heart. And an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. Watch this last verse. I want you to catch this. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. That's literally what I'm saying. The heart speaks what I'm full of. The question is, what is coming out of your mouth? What are you sowing? And it's not just because, I stumped my toe and something came out. Really what it is you're like, there's got to be something deeper. There's got to be something deeper. Is there something, God, that I have not dealt with? If there's something that I keep trying to suppress, or this is just who I am? Like, help me understand this. Because it's not just about your words, though. It's also about your source. I'll say it again. It's not just your words. It's also your source. You will always produce fruit in line with the seed that's planted in you. Always. Are y'all still with me? Is this all right? Okay. If you go all the way back to Genesis, in the first verse I started with, when God tells Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply, he's doing two things. He's tying their fruitfulness to their purpose. He's showing them two things. And so you can write this down. What's in you will eventually come through you. What's in you will eventually come through you. And so it's interesting to me because you have to understand, man, whenever no one is looking, what's coming out of me is the real me. When people are around me, all of a sudden I put on this false facade and I'm fine, I'm good, I'm whatever. Don't say anything mean, don't whatever. But when no one is looking and it's just you and your spouse and you say something cross because you're upset, And all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, they have a Ring doorbell. Gets you every time. And now all of a sudden you're embarrassed because you got caught at who you really are. And so really what we have to understand is not just trying to put on this facade, but really getting deeper than that. Going, God, show me who I really am apart from all of this stuff. Because I cannot help someone else get to you if God is trying to get to me. He's trying to deal with some things in me first. I hate this, but this is true. Have you ever grabbed an orange and you squeeze it really hard? What comes out of it? Apple juice. No one said it with me. No. Apple juice does not come out of an orange in the same way that a fruit that's whatever's in it is obviously going to come out. And so what I would say, the way that you can gauge who you really are is when pressure is applied to you. When you're going through difficult seasons, it's just a hard season. Okay, that's probably the real you. Man, you're always angry. That may be the real you. And you're always frustrated. That may be the real you. Or the other way around. And all of a sudden, everything's falling apart. And they're like, how do you still have joy? Because I've spent time with God. Because I know I can't control everything, but what I do know is He does. He can control everything. And so no matter how tight you squeeze me, what's going to come out of me? The fruit of the Spirit, because I've spent time with the Spirit. I've spent time with Him. And so the question is, if your home is always tense, what are you carrying into it? If your home is always filled with anger or chaos, what are you carrying into it? Are you pouring anxiety into your atmosphere of your house? Are you setting the temperature emotionally or letting others dictate what today's going to look like? You used to always hear this saying, whenever mom's happy, everybody's happy. Whenever dad's happy, everybody's happy. Well, what is that saying? That's saying you've planted that seed that they already know. Dad's mad. I'm going to go outside. Mom's upset. We're going to leave. And I think we add this as just these cute little fun things, but no, it's intentionally going, I can't go. That's not a safe space for me. I've had conversations with people over the years where they would tell me, even as a young kid, we would have a good day until mom came home. We would have a good day until dad came home. Or they would say, hey, you want to come to my house later? This is as kids. I don't know. I'm going to have to let you know how my dad acts when he comes home. This is life. This is what our kids are seeing, and not just our kids, these are our coworkers and everybody. And so I'm not coming at you. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. Really what I think we need to do is go, God, I need more of you. Because if this is still in me, please cut it out of me. Like, show me how I can be more like you. You've got to be filled with the right seed before you can actually sow the right fruit. That's why time with God matters. It's not just enough to come on Sunday mornings, and I love that you're here, but this is just the beginning. Every single day, you wonder why you get angry in the afternoon. Chances are because you're empty by then, because you've not consistently filled yourself up. That's why prayer matters. That's why prayer changes things. Is you don't just pray when you're needing it. You pray before you need it. Because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to come up against, but I know and I'm going to trust you with the beginning of my day. I'm going to fill me first because I know what it's like to be pouring out at everybody else all day long. Am I right? From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, it's almost like you're pouring. Well, eventually that cup is going to be empty unless you get filled up with something. The problem is that for the majority of people, we fill up with certain sites that we shouldn't be going to. We fill up with drinking on the weekends. We fill up with smoking. We fill up with laying around with other people. We fill up with that. No wonder that's what comes out of us when we get poured. Instead, we should be like, God, fill me up first. Start with me. Fill me. Show me what I'm supposed to be doing. If there's anything in me, as Psalm says, reveal it to me so you can cut it off of me. Like, that's the heart. It's not just trying to pretend like we're good and whenever we leave, we're a mess. No, the reality is going, can I have all of you so that whenever you go into the world, they see me. They have a hunger for me. Because I think the issue is that you will never produce healthy spiritual fruit from a dry spiritual life. Ever. But I go to church every Sunday. But when do you actually talk to him? When do you spend time with him? When are you willing to be confronted by the things that you don't like about yourself? When are you willing to be obedient and get rid of things because he's called you to it? No, there are things that God is like, you can stay there, but we're only going to be able to go this far. You can do that, but I'm just telling you, you're only going to be able to go a certain place with me. You're always going to be living from an empty cup. You're always sowing seed of anger and bitterness and frustration because that's what you're full of. But on the flip, again, I would say this. It's so cool to start seeing people go, man, I'm changing, and I'm changing because of you. And you're like, I've never had a spiritual conversation with you. I've never talked to you about Jesus. I've never told you. No, but I can see it through you. I knew it. We had a neighbor come to our house recently, and he walks across the street, and we're talking for a minute. And he's like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm like, yeah, she works at a dental office, and I'm a pastor. And he's like, I knew it. From across the street, it was like our whole family. I was like, what did you know? Like, I don't know what you see. This is bad. It's like, I could just tell that the house is different since you moved in. I could tell that the street is different. And I'm like, look, we are far from perfect, but I know the one who is. Without saying a word, people see the fruit that you carry. People see the seed that you lay out. Let's move on a little bit. So today, really what I want you to do is I really want you to ask the question and look at the fruit that's being produced by your life. Everything, in the good and the bad, when you're being squeezed and when you're not. And if you don't like it, ask God where it's coming from. And that's when it gets scary, because some of it may be since you've been a child. Well, this is how I was raised, and I didn't want to be this way, but now that I'm a parent, I am this way. Or maybe there's something that happened to you, and so you're always distant. You want to pretend like you're happy and smiling, but deep down there's something going on. And let me just tell you, you don't have to live that way. God is so cool, because if you give it to him, he will take it. He's cool that way. There's freedom when you start going, this is what I'm having to deal with. But you will never get to a point of healthy fruit and healthy seed in your life if you pretend like the issue that you're dealing with is not there. So write this if you're still with me. You sow even when you don't know the outcome. I'll say it again. You sow. You continue to sow even when you don't know the outcome. And I'll show this to you, because this is actually the hardest truth, I think, because for a lot of the message I've talked about negative things, but there's also good things. There are things where last week I think Pastor Chris talked about being the hands and feet of Jesus. It's us going, I'm going to do the ministry too. It's not just Pastor Brandon. It's all of us. That's all of us. And so there's a moment in our life where we get to say, now I'm on mission to change my street. I'm on mission to change my office. I'm on mission to change my children's life. It's not just Pastor Brandon. It's your responsibility to change your circle. And so sometimes when you're doing it, you get frustrated and be like, is this even making a difference? I want you to understand. You sow even when you don't know the outcome. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it's not growing within them. I don't know how many times in my life I have prayed for someone and they're like, I'm good. Or I've asked them to pray, or I invited them to church, or I've done all these things and I get so many no's. And I'm like, God, why no? He's like, you don't know what that will do to them tomorrow. You don't know in a year from now when they're searching and they either come here or they find a place. All I was telling you to do was be obedient with the invitation. You'll never know. 1 Corinthians 3, 5 through 9. And let me give you a little backstory here. What's happening is that Apollos was teaching similar to Paul, and Paul was teaching similar to Apollos. And now they're saying, well, who are we supposed to follow? And this is Paul's response. He says, what after all is Apollos? He's basically saying he's a teacher. And what is Paul? Only servants through whom they came to believe, as the Lord has assigned, watch this, to each his task. I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God has been making it grow. So neither the one who planted nor the one who watered is anything, but only God who makes things grow. The one who plants and the one who waters have one purpose, that they will each be rewarded according to their own labor. For we are co-workers in God's service. You are God's field, God's building. Paul is actually reminding this church in Corinth that it's like, listen, it doesn't matter who did what as long as you're doing your part. Apollos did something and I did something else, but only God can make it grow. God, am I being obedient in what you call me to do? Then that's all you've called me to do. I think about this for a second. I think about seeds. If I asked you, hey, go outside and plant this seed, you go out there and you plant it and you stand there and you wait for 30 minutes. Eventually, you're going to get frustrated because it's not growing. But what you don't understand is it is growing, you just don't see it. All of a sudden, it's budding when you don't see it. All of a sudden, it's being produced. It's breaking apart. It's getting ready to grow. But just because you don't see it does not mean it's not growing. All we are called to do is just plant the seed. Are you with me? Like, this is really the heart that we're trying to get to. You just have to be obedient with what's in your hand. I heard a story recently about an art teacher. And the art teacher told 5 students, he's like, all right, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to set up 5 different canvases, and I'm going to give you 1 paint color each. And you don't look at anybody else's paintings. But what I want you to do is I just want you to paint whatever you feel like you should paint on yours. But we only have 1 color. He's like, I didn't ask you to paint all this stuff. All I asked you to do is paint with the color that was given to you. And so they start to paint this picture, and after some time, he says, okay, get up and move to the next painting. And so then they move over, and there's one other color that they're not holding, and they could either choose to add to it or make it something different. And so they sat there for some time and painted on a second canvas. And after a little bit, he's like, okay, get up and move to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. After 5 different canvases, now all of a sudden, they're sitting there with 5 different colors, including their own. And there are some beautiful pictures, but then the teacher was like, all right, everybody get up and leave. You're like, hold, wait, I want to see what all the pictures look like. No, it's okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for painting your part. But the only one they got to see is the one that they finished the painting. But here's what's interesting about this, is that's what God calls us to also. I'm not going to expect you to know how to paint with all this other stuff. All I can get you to do is be obedient with your color. But I want to see I know you do. I know you want to see all the pictures completed, and I know you want to see all this beauty, and I know that. But you did get to see one. You got to see one. Like you got to see the one. What am I trying to say? Sometimes in ministry, and we're all in ministry, I want you to hear this. All we're called to do is paint with the color that's in our hand. I may not see it all. I may not see my kids come back to Christ. They've left because they were mad. I may not see my mom and dad come to Christ, but all I'm called to do is paint with mine. All I'm called to do is plant the seed in my hand. I may not get to see my neighbor come to Christ. I may not need to see some of these things, but all I am called to do in the season that I'm in is paint on the canvas that's in front of me today. And so that's my encouragement for you, is don't get frustrated when you don't see the whole picture. Don't get frustrated when you feel like you get 100 no's. There may be one yes tomorrow. Don't get angry and don't walk away from painting, because God is like, no, I've entrusted these people to you, and all that you're called to do is paint what's in front of you with what I've already given you. So that's why it's imperative that you cannot paint with some other color that you were not given. In the same way, you cannot plant a seed that you do not carry. Does this make sense? And so that's really our call, because that was their contribution to the painting. So here's my question. How much longer are you going to go without contributing to what God's put in front of you? How much longer are you going to go and go, I'm not going to get to see the end of this, so I'm not even going to start. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to serve. I'm not going to give. I'm not going to do whatever to my neighbor. I'm not going to be nice to people. I'm just going to be all on my own because I'm not going to get to see the end result. If that's true, you're missing out on so many cool miracles, because you don't know when yours will be the last one. You don't know when that person comes to you and says, hey, can you just tell me why you have peace? Can you just tell me, I see you praying at lunch every day. And for the last year and a half, I've saw you pray and you never say anything about anything. You just sit and you pray and you eat. But today I'm burnt. Today I'm angry, and today I'm frustrated. Can you tell me why you do what you do? He's like, yeah, let me paint with the color that's in my hand. Again, I'll just say this. You're not responsible to finish what God started. I think that's pressure off of you. I don't know all that's okay. You don't have to know everything. All you have to know is him and what he did in your life. That's your color, and that's your seed. Would you stand with me? And I have this last thing I want to share with you, and it's this. Don't let what you can't see stop you from sowing what God gave you. Don't let what you can't see stop you from sowing what God gave you. So remember this. Everything that we do, everything that we whether we are in a good mood, in a bad mood, whether we spent time with God that day or we haven't, everything that we do is a seed that God is going to use. And so let us be obedient today. Don't walk away going, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm so terrible. No, you're missing it. It's not at all really about us at all. Really what it is about him. And oh God, even though I'm not perfect, I know you are. Even though I've fallen, I know you haven't. Even though I've messed up again, can you reveal the things in me so that they can come out of me and start with me? So I just want to take a second and I just want to pray for all of us. Because it's not just a parenting thing. It's a coworker thing. It's a friend thing. It's a Christian thing. Where today I pray that God reveals to you what you carry matters. And the things that you unintentionally in those hard seasons are scattering, and then now you're seeing the repercussions of it. But God, redeem that because I know you can. So God, I pray over every person that's in this place. God, I know there's a lot today about seeds and planting and producing and all this stuff, but really at the end of the day, what really matters is that we allow you to change our heart. Change us from the inside out and start with me. Start with us. Before we explode or vomit or throw up on the people around us, give us patience. Give us love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness. Give us self-control, and we can only get that with a relationship with you. We can only get that through obedience. So God, I thank you for today. I thank you for this word. Allow us not to leave the same way we came in. We love you, and we thank you. Give us moments this week where we can share what you've done for us. Give us canvases this week that we can paint on and make a difference. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. And we all said, amen. Hey, we love you, and we will see you next week.